Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. It's time for Montana's only daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Coulter Nuanez.
Yo, what's up, Montana? Welcome in. 102.9 ESPN Radio. It's Nuanez Now coming your way here on this Tuesday. Happy to be here with you. I'm Coulter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, not only locally owned and veteran-owned, but also they're offering pickup garbage service now. So, recycling service to go with their garbage service. So they have no sort recycling coming your way. And it's going to make everything so much easier on you. I've had Grizzly Disposal since June. It's great service. Stoked to have the recycling as well. If you want to make the switch today. 406-541-7171. That's 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Plenty to get to today. We are going to spend a formative amount of time talking about women's basketball because, first of all, as we know, the sport's risen in massive popularity at the collegiate level, but also I think that two of the most interesting storylines going on right now in the state of Montana is the fact that on one side of the coin, Montana State's women, coming off of a 30-win year a year ago and an NCAA tournament berth. By the way, 30 wins is the most wins a team has ever had in the Big Sky Conference. They lost 8 players from that team. Multiple seniors graduated, others hit the transfer portal. Dylan Phillip, who was a key starter on that team last year, she tore her ACL towards the end of last year, so she's still out coming into this year. They don't have a senior on the roster. Yeah, Montana State, after last night's 71-57 win over Northern Colorado and Bozeman, Montana State 6-0 in Big Sky Conference play. They are absolutely in the driver's seat to repeat as Big Sky Conference champions. On the other side of the coin, Lady Grizz of Montana really struggled. They had only won one home game leading up to yesterday, and that was against the Division II school. They were off to an 0-5 conference start, and that was accentuated by the fact that they lost by 38 points in Bozeman on Saturday. That said, the Lady Grizz bounced back in a big way. We told you about this yesterday because there was one afternoon game yesterday. That was the Lady Grizz versus NAU. The Lady Grizz came out on the right side of that one, so they get their first conference win, 76-72. So that's at least a step towards, maybe the Bozeman result against Montana State was rock bottom for the Lady Grizz. You have to hope so. Like I always say, we got no rooting interest in any of this stuff around here, but you don't want to cover teams that can't win games, especially when they have a proud history like the Lady Grizz. So we're going to talk about both those subject matters. We got all jammed up yesterday because we had so much audio from the doubleheader press conferences in Bozeman on Saturday. So we bumped a couple of the pieces of audio. One of those pieces, Nate Harris, the Lady Grizz head coach. So we'll play that for you here at the end of hour number 1, just about 5 minutes with Coach Harris. We also we'll hear from Krista Redpath, our Big Sky Conference women's basketball analyst. That's coming at you to lead hour number 2 at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. She and I sat down for about half an hour today and hashed out all of what this means right now at the one-third point of the season for Montana State being in the driver's seat, for Montana to have the humiliating loss in Bozeman, but also to bounce back with a nice win yesterday afternoon. What does it all mean? Krista and I sat down for a little round the Big Sky Women's Hoops. We also talked about a couple of the other contenders in the conference right now as, again, we're about a third of the way through the conference race. Around all that, we're also going to talk some high school hoops. There's only a few undefeated teams left in high school basketball. Just one in Class AA, boys and girls, period. Just one in Class A, boys and girls, period. 2 girls teams in Class B, none in boys. 2 boys teams, 3 girls teams in Class C. So just a few, less than double digits total across all classifications in Montana that are undefeated. We'll highlight those teams thus far. That'll be about 4:30. And we also have our latest Treasure State Stars, just breaking down some of the best individual performances from the week that was. That's coming up about 5:30. You want to stream the show? You always can. 1029 ESPN.com. Just click on the Listen Live link, and boom, that's where you'll find us. You can also always use the ESPN MT app. You can also always use YouTube. You can also always use our Facebook page. You can also always use Twitch. If you'd like to be a part of the show, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Call it, text it, let us know what you think. What do you want us to talk about? Anything's up for grabs, 406-888-1029. If you're watching on one of the visual mediums, a couple things to point out here in the studio. First of all, I got a new book up here on display. It's not a new book, it's an old book, but it's a great book. In fact, it's one of the great sports books that I believe exists on this earth. I think it's David Halberstam's best book. And I think he's written some pretty incredible books, especially when it comes to sports. It's called Breaks of the Game, if you haven't heard of it. It's an unbelievable story. It's about the late 70s and early 1980s Portland Trailblazers. For those that forget, the Portland Trailblazers were a phenomenon in the late 1970s. They had one of the best players on the earth, and I would argue of all time, given the height that he rose to in Bill Walton. Of course, then, the Breaks of the Game refers to how it all fell apart because Bill Walton had so many injuries, and it really derailed him and them, and then they became sort of this outpost. It's a great book because it's not just about the Blazers, it's about the NBA in the late 1970s, which in itself is a pretty fascinating deal. I have that on display because it's just a fun book to think about and maybe even talk about, but also we're kind of transitioning into basketball season. But first, we still have 4 more football games to recap, including one that happened last night. How about Indiana? The Hoosiers get it done. They win their first football national championship. I wanted to have a bigger conversation about what all this means last week, but I'm glad I actually waited now that Indiana actually put the cherry on top. Back to that in just a minute. Behind me, if you're watching visually, you'll see I got a new can you say it's memorabilia when the guy is still a current player? I think you can, right? I got a signed Eli Gilman authentic jersey. That's pretty cool. We have helped Eli with his promotion of his coloring book. One of our great friends, friend of the show, Ryan Bagley, he was the artist that did the press box mural. He also did the Eli Gilman coloring book. Ryan's a former Grizz player himself, Great Falls CMR product, one of my great friends. He... So one of the coloring book contest prizes was one of these jerseys. So for helping promote, they gave me this to hang in the studio. So super cool and super happy to have it. Like I always say, we got no rooting interest in any of this stuff. This isn't a Grizz or a Bobcat thing. Like if you got a Bobcat jersey, I'd put that up too, right? Like I love all the memorabilia. But we do know Eli personally. That's just because of his interviews on this show. Did a couple NIL things with him last year. Working on some stuff right now as well. And he's a great dude. He's just fun to hang out with, and I'm glad he's a Grizz. I'm more than a Grizz. I'm glad he's a Missoulian. I'm glad he's just a person that lives in our community that I get to see and talk to every once in a while, and of course watch perform because he's a tremendous athlete. So that's what's behind me. Anyways, back to Indiana. So what did this teach us? What did Indiana's national championship victory last night, 27-21 over Miami? What did it teach us? First of all, great effort by Miami. They covered the spread. They made it a game all the way down to the end. It was 24-21 in the fourth quarter, so they were right there. They got after Mendoza in a big way. Francisco Mendoza did have a couple iconic plays, but I thought that Miami put massive pressure on him. Kurt Cignetti said it at halftime and in the postgame, we couldn't block him today. Like we couldn't protect the passer at all. So that certainly had an influence on the game. But in the end, I thought Indiana had more grit, more toughness, and just more fortitude overall to emerge with that win. It was a hard-fought, really well-played game. It was really fun to watch. But I think that what Indiana teaches us is that, and I will fully lead here by admitting that I was totally wrong about this. I thought that when the NIL when name, image, and likeness came to full fruition and Pandora's box is open and you have, the house settlement and athletic departments are allowed to have revenue sharing and they can earmark tens of millions of dollars to pay student athletes directly, but then these student athletes can also get paid outside of that from their own third-party NIL deals. When that happened, I thought you were going to create like a Major League Baseball model where whoever is the Dodgers is just going to buy the richest roster that you could possibly assemble, and then that team will just reign over the land of college football. And if there's 8 to 10 that could be in that mix in terms of spending, I thought that that's exactly what it would be. And I thought that those big spenders would be the powers that be that have been sort of the unwavering powers in college football over the last 10 or 15 years. The usual suspects: Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, Texas, Oklahoma. Penn State would probably have to be in there because of their ability to generate revenue via ticket sales and just their brand. Who else? Probably USC, But what I was wrong about is you can, how much you spend on your roster, it matters. And Indiana certainly got a huge boost. They got a huge boost from two different reasons. One, Mark Cuban is the most famous of the 804,000 Indiana alums that walk this earth. That's an impactful deal if you got a guy that can write you a check for that much money. But Mark Cuban has been an alum for Indiana football, or for Indiana, forever. Mark Cuban graduated from Indiana when? Years ago, more for sure 30 plus years ago. So it's the president, it's the leadership, it's the athletic department, it's the athletic director that decided to finally make Indiana football an enticing enough product. Mark Cuban graduated from Indiana in 1981, 44 years ago. So he's been out there. Mark Cuban's been a billionaire since at least the dot-com boom in the late 1990s. So he's been a billionaire for 30 years. He just started writing checks with multiple commas in them the last couple of years. That stems from leadership. That stems from the university president. As Marty Mornowake talked on the show yesterday, the university president came in and said, we've been great in basketball. We've won 3 national championships in basketball. Why are we reconciling ourselves with being in last place or close to last place in the Big Ten? Why are we just waving the white flag and saying, we'll never catch Michigan or Ohio State or Penn State or Michigan State or Iowa or Wisconsin? Why are we doing that? Let's not do that. Let's make football big time. So that's one thing. Leadership leading to the re-empowerment of Mark Cuban as a big time Indiana booster. That's a huge deal in this. I'm not even gonna say resurrection because they never had a high point before this. It's the ascension of it's the rapid ascension of the throne of college football by the Indiana Hoosiers. The second factor, though, is what I just mentioned: 804,000 living alumni. That is the most alumni of any college in the United States of America. What does that mean? It means if you tap into your alumni base, you can raise a whole pile of money very fast. You get 804,000 people to give you $10 each. You just raised $8 million. You can do the math, right? $100 each, $1,000 each. Of course, you're not going to get all 804,000 people to give you money, but that's a lot of people to mine for donations. That is a lot of opportunity to have a pretty grassroots effort toward college football and the ascension of it all. But what I'm getting at is Indiana's payroll is bigger than it was, no question. It's not as big in terms of NIL money. I can't profess to know the exact identical NIL budgets and resources for every single school right off the top of my head. I do not know that. What I can say with definitive, unquestionably, Indiana's NIL budget is less than 3 teams that they just ran through in the college football playoff. They whooped the hell out of Alabama. Then they destroyed Oregon. Oregon's got the number 1 NIL budget in the country. Phil Knight is on the record saying, boys, the checkbook is open. Whatever you want. Phil Knight is 86 years old. He's got more money than God. He wants a national championship in football in the worst way, and he knows he's running thin on time. Oregon can spend whatever they want. I was at a game at Autzen Stadium in Oregon this year in Eugene when they opened up against Montana State. I sat with several University of Montana alums who are sports writers now in that area that cover those teams, talking to them about what each guy is getting. Like when Oregon emptied the bench and put their third and fourth string guys in against the Cats when the game was well in hand, those guys are all making six figures at least. Everybody on the Ducks is making hundreds of thousands. The Ducks made seven-figure offers to multiple guys in the Big Sky Conference. I won't name names. Multiple guys that played football in the Big Sky Conference this last year got offered over $1 million to go to Oregon. That's the type of money Oregon has right now. That is more than Indiana's got. Alabama's got more NIL money than Indiana's got, too. So's Texas Tech. So's Texas. Those are the schools I know definitively. But Indiana just rolled through Alabama and Oregon to get to this. I bet you Miami has more NIL money than Indiana does as well. My fear when the Pandora's box was open is that the teams with the most NIL money, the biggest boosters, the most ferocity towards winning national championships, I thought those teams would just reign and there would be no parity whatsoever. You'd be talking about a 4 to 8 team ecosystem in which teams could compete, and teams that were like on that second tier: Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, Utah, Cal, Stanford, probably even Baylor, West Virginia, Central Florida, Rutgers. Like all these teams would have zero chance. Literally, they would never be able to compete. Indiana proved that wrong last night. They proved it wrong, in my opinion, because of three primary factors. Nuanez Now, 102.9, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Our good buddy Peter from Vertical Raise is texting in right now. He says, they have Mark Cuban. Don't act like they don't spend. It's true. It's accurate, but they don't spend more than all the teams that they just beat. And again, Mark Cuban's been an Indiana alum for 44 years. He just now started giving the big checks to the football team. Those two things going hand in hand. Belief from the university, belief in the head football coach. Indiana never paid a coach $11-something million a year. They got a coach that's worth $11 million a year. Think about how much Indiana made off of this national championship run. It is far more than $11.2 million that you're paying Kirk Cignetti. This conversation is we're just going to say it's presented by Vertical Raise. We're going to do a prep basketball segment later on. Vertical Raise is mostly attached to high school sports when it comes to this show. But since Pete's texting me, and I know he's listening right now, if you are in need of fundraising help for your organization of any sort, it doesn't have to just be sports, but this time is a busy time of year when it comes to high school sports. Vertical Raise gets you the biggest checks in the most efficient fashion. To find out more about how they can raise money for your organization, sports or otherwise, visit verticalraise406.com. Pete says the NIL's been around for only 3 or 4 years. That's true. But that doesn't mean Mark Cuban couldn't go buy a facility for Indiana football. Like Indiana could have the nicest indoor practice facility in the world if they would have just been mining Mark Cuban for money. There's a whole bunch of other ways he could have been giving money to accelerate the trajectory of the football program before just giving money to the NIL, right? You'd be paying from everything from training tables to trainers to recovery rooms to indoor practice facilities, like all these sorts of things that can help you keep up with the Joneses. But I just think that there's a reason Mark Cuban is giving more money now. First of all, he needs a new sports fix. He sold the Dallas Mavericks, so he needs a new sports fix. Needs something to give his attention to. Second, as Pete said, it is allowed. That is, that's the reality of the situation now. So it's just more open for him to be able to pay. But again, like Francisco Mendoza is not even close to the highest paid quarterback in the country. I mean, Miami's quarterback's making by 7 times as much money as Mendoza is. I don't know what Mendoza's making. I bet you Mendoza's making $1 million. But Carson Beck is making $6 million. Like, it's not even in the same stratosphere. So that's what I'm getting at is that Indiana proved you don't have to have the highest payroll. They don't have a single 5-star recruit on their team. What else do you need to know? They proved that the three most important factors still to win a national championship in football are in no particular order: experience, toughness, and playing together. That's what they had. They out-executed Alabama and Oregon. They didn't out-athlete Oregon, but they out-toughed them. They, no question, looked like the toughest team on the field when they just whooped Oregon a couple weeks ago. Last night, Miami was tough as hell, man. I don't think actually Indiana had an advantage in toughness in the game last night. I think they had an advantage in the fortitude it took to outlast Miami. I thought they had a performance advantage. I mean, the play of the game that swung the entire thing, there's three plays that really swung the whole thing. One, when they blocked the punt to score a touchdown to go up 17-7. Two, when they went for it on 4th and 5 and they called a QB draw, that Mendoza not only turned into a first down, but turned into what ended up being the game-sealing touchdown. And then 3, the interception at the end of the game to seal the game. Those 3 were the things that elevated them. But you could tell, like Kirk Cignetti said right after the game, this win came down to grit. This win came down to tough, like our ability to cumulatively come together and prevail. That still matters. That makes me so happy, right? Like, even with all of this influx of money and all that, if it was only about winning, if winning was only about the money you spend, Texas Tech would be winning at everything. Texas Tech has an absurd amount of NIL money. They have these two brothers that have each pledged $40+ million each to the NIL. The Texas Tech's men's basketball has $40 million in NIL. There's only 15 guys on a roster. That means every single dude is making $3+ million a year. If you're paying your best guy this, okay, that's fine. It still means that your 12th or 13th guy is making multiple millions of dollars a year. Is that translating to winning right now, though, for Texas Tech? I mean, it certainly is. They were good last year. They were a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament, but they're not just running away with the national championship. But football is the number one example, right? And this has been how it's been in football since Nick Saban first culminated his rise at Alabama. Saban won his first national championship at Bama in 2009. In the next years, he played in 10 national championships between 2009 and 2023 and won 6 of them. Nick Saban's team certainly had among the best talent in the country. But what did they have more than anything else? They had the best cohesiveness. They had the best culture. Like, they had the best expectation for greatness. That's still the number one factor. North Dakota State has had great talent. They've had better talent than everybody else that's a peer of theirs in the FCS. But the thing that puts them over the top over and over and over again is the winning mindset. It's the winning culture. Indiana's introducing that now into the new age. That's what put them over the top, the winning mindset, the winning culture. It's not just about the money. It's about the mentality, and it makes me so happy. When I mentioned experience, this is from Sam Beckton, who's a colleague of ours. He works at the NCAA, but he's been at a lot of the FCS events. We sat with him at the Brawl 2.0 in Bozeman, as well as at the National Championship. He was just right there on Media Row with us. So talked to him a little bit. I've been following him on Twitter for a couple years because he's done a lot of the social stuff from the National Championship games, like on Media Day on Saturday. He puts out a lot of videos with like the representatives that are there, which has been a Montana school for the last 4 years straight. But Sam tweeted this morning. This is great stats. He says, experience matters, excuse me. Here's the starting lineups from the last 3 college football playoff national champions. By the way, all 3 from the Big Ten. Indiana this year, Ohio State last year, Michigan the year prior to that. This is their starters, right? Indiana started 0 freshmen this year. They started 3 second-year guys, 2 third-year guys. So out of their 22 starters, only 5 of them are third-year guys or less. 10 four-year guys, 4 fifth-year guys, 4 sixth-year guys. That's 18 dudes that have been in college for 4, 5, or 6 years for Indiana. Ohio State, 2 years ago, their only freshman was Jeremiah Smith. That doesn't even count because he's the biggest freak show in college football, or at least one of them. He's not your average freshman. He's like the number 1 freshman in the whole country. Ohio State also had 3 second-year guys. So, again, and only 4 third-year guys. So, 8 total guys, third year or less. Ohio State had 9 fourth-year guys, 6 fifth-year guys. So 15 of your 22 starters were 4th or 5th-year guys for Ohio State. Michigan, 0 freshmen, 3 second year, 7 third year, then 7 fourth year, 8 fifth year, and 1 sixth year. So that's 16 total guys with 4, 5, or 6 years of experience. That's it. Indiana got to the top, I should say, by forming one of the most veteran, experienced, and oldest rosters in college football. But that has been the formula for the last several years since the NIL became a reality in modern-day college football. This is a proof of concept to everybody, though. You can say you can't keep up with Ohio State and Michigan in terms of the resources you got, but you can. And maybe you don't have Mark Cuban. Okay, that's fine. But they didn't just buy the championship. They molded it. They formed it. They brought together a team with the top level of continuity. I know Francisco Mendoza is the darling of the moment right now, and I know everybody's just pouring it on with how great he is and what a cute story and what a cute guy and yada, yada, yada. Mendoza's a dog. He's tough as hell. I was very impressed with him last night. I just mean this, like when I say that guys aren't good enough to play in the NBA, it's not because I don't think that guy's great. It's because it's so hard to play in the NBA. Francisco Mendoza, he's good enough to play in the NFL. But is he good enough to be good in the NFL? I don't know. Like, if right now, if we are on the fence if Jalen Hurts is good enough to get you over the top in the NFL, we're on the fence right now if CJ Stroud's good enough to get you over the top in the NFL. Bryce Young in Carolina, is he good enough? J.J. McCarthy, don't think so. But, like, is Francisco Mendoza better than any of those guys? I don't know. Like, I guess what I'm saying is I think Francisco Mendoza is one of the top 50 quarterbacks on the earth right now. But to be a true difference maker and actually get your team over the top and have a chance to like make a lasting difference in terms of your impact and the way that you can guide your team, like how deep can you guide them in the playoffs, you got to be top 12 good. You got to be top 15 good. But if you're in that range between 10 and 15, you got to be on a team with a top 10 defense. And even that might not be good enough. Like, what's C.J. Stroud? C.J. Stroud's probably like the 17th or 18th best quarterback in the NFL right now. He's got the best defense in the league. That's not good enough to get past the Patriots because the Patriots have a top 5 defense, and they also got a top 10 quarterback. That's what's going to put you over the top. Where's Mendoza at? Like, I'm not hating on Mendoza. I don't want to stomp on the guy who just won the national championship. I think Mendoza's good. But like, how good, right? Is his ceiling Marcus Mariota? Is his ceiling Ryan Tannehill? Or is his ceiling Andrew Luck? If his ceiling's Andrew Luck, that's pretty good. But even Andrew Luck had a hard time getting you over the top. Like, is Mendoza, is his ceiling better than Jalen Hurts? Is it better than Jordan Love? I'm not sure. The point is, Indiana won the national championship, and that guy won the Heisman. And Indiana is not the most talented team in college football. They do not have the highest payroll. They do not have the most 5-star recruits. They do not have the most future first-round draft picks. But they do have the best toughness, the most experience, the most continuity, and the best coach. That stuff still matters. That's refreshing for college football, and it's a proof of concept for everybody. If you want to be the best, figure out that part first. Like, is Montana State at the FCS level? Are they the richest? Do they have the most NIL money? Do they have the absolute top talent? I'd say no. They have great talent. They have top 5 in the FCS talent, no question. And top 3, I mean, they just won the national championship, so it's hard to say they have anything but some of the best talent in the league. But you know in the country, at least. But you know the point I'm making. The thing that got Montana State over the top was the cohesiveness, the coaching, the ability to make plays, the ability to endure, the ability to win. Just straight up, the winning mentality. That's what got Montana State over the top. That's what got Indiana over the top. That should be refreshing for you if you're a college football fan. It's not just stratified based on how much money you can spend. And I love it. I went in thinking I didn't like Indiana. I wasn't going for them. But then once I watched them, it's the 4th time I watched them all the way through the college football playoff. But once I just sort of had it sink in what this means and what the message is now to the rest of college football, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for the wide world of college football. Take a break from college football. Talk high school hoops. Who are the last undefeated teams left across the state of Montana? We'll go through all that next. Seabrook here, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Make your plans for Friday night. Grizz hockey is back at the Glacier Ice Rink. The Montana Grizzlies take on Providence in a Treasure State rivalry showdown. Face-off is 7:30, and it's also Chuck-a-Puck night. Fans can throw their pucks on the ice for a chance to win prizes from Grizz hockey and their sponsors. Fast action, big hits, and non-stop excitement. Tickets are available now at grizzhockey.com. Don't miss Grizz hockey this Friday at the Glacier Ice Rink.
All Nations Health Center is committed to keeping you vibrant and full of energy by supporting your physical, mental, and spiritual health. All Nations Health Center in Missoula offers a variety of services to the Indigenous and non-Indigenous people of Western Montana. All Nations offers primary care doctors, behavioral health services, mental health counseling, and even dental. All Nations currently serves more than 2,000 registered clients who are proud Indigenous people. For more information about how All Nations Health Center can help you, visit allnations.health.
Montana weather, am I right? While we can't control the weather, there is one thing we can control, your comfort. Liberty Electric, your partner in ensuring your comfort lasts until spring arrives. Let us help you stay cozy and worry-free through the chilly months, especially mornings. Remember, a heated garage means a warm car and a happier you. Let Liberty Electric show you how affordable a warm garage can be. Dial 541-WIRE. That's 541-9473.
Did you know that if you have dense breasts, or any breasts for that matter, a screening mammogram or ultrasound can miss up to half of breast cancers? At Montana Imaging Center in Missoula, we now offer screening breast MRI, the best way to find cancer early. Tell your doctor you'd like to have a referral sent to Montana Imaging Center, where you'll save up to 90% on breast MRIs. Fridays at Montana Imaging Center, join us for Breast Fridays Ever. It's a relaxing, non-hospital screening experience with chocolates, champagne, and sometimes an emotional support puppy running around. Visit montanaimaging.com for more info.
Sometimes it's stressful juggling all your responsibilities on the weekends. You know you need to do your chores. You know you want to spend time with your family. But really, you just want to watch football all day. Paradise Falls is the perfect option for a family-friendly place to hang out and still have a chance to catch all the games. Open 7 a.m. till midnight and offering breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Paradise Falls has 30 big-screen TVs, ESPN 3 capabilities, and much, much more. Swing on by Paradise Falls on Brook Street anytime you're in the mood for some food or some football. Paradise Falls, 3621 Brook Street, Missoula's coolest hotspot. Hey, what's up, Montana? Coulter Nuanez from Nuanez Now, your favorite daily sports talk show. I know a great many of you listen to the show during your evening drive time between 4 and 6 p.m. right here on 102.9 ESPN Missoula, but sometimes you might not get to listen to the entire show. That's okay. We've got you covered. You can always find Nuanez Now in its totality on all of your favorite podcast hosting platforms. The Nuanez Now podcast is proudly presented by Elevated Tax, elevating you and your business with a modern professional touch.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
As buzz from the rivalry sweep continued to swirl around the state, all four of Montana's Division I basketball teams came out on the winning side on Monday. Hello, I am Coulter Nuanez. Montana State swept Montana on the hardwood in Bozeman Saturday, helping continue MSU's recent domination of UM in almost every single sport. No rest for the weary, though, as all four teams were in action on Martin Luther King Day. In Missoula, Lady Grizz bounced back from a humiliating 38-point loss to the Bobcats to earn their first conference win and their first Division I victory at home. Jocelyn Land drilled 6 3-pointers, and Montana beat Northern Arizona 76-72. Millstone product Drea Wacker came off the bench to score 15 points and dish out 6 assists as the Lady Grizz snapped a 5-game losing streak. In Flagstaff, Montana men got back on the winning side with an offensive outburst. Tejon Sawyer poured in 27 points, Money Williams rolled up 25 points and 6 assists, and UM blew past NAU 98-72 to earn the season sweep of the Lumberjacks. In Bozeman, Montana State remained undefeated in Big Sky women's hoops with a 71-57 win over Northern Colorado. Addison Harris poured in 23 points to lead MSU, while Seiko product Tegan Erickson scored 11 off the bench as MSU moved to 6-0 in league play. In Greeley, Colorado, Montana State's men remain in first place after a 73-68 victory over Northern Colorado. Davion Brown hit 4 3-pointers and scored 16 points as MSU completed the season sweep of the Bears and moved to 5-1 in league play.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
This is what I blew. I didn't know about whiskey. I kind of knew about Whiskey Myers, but I didn't have an opinion about him one way or the other. I hadn't really listened to him. And then they came to Big Sky Amphitheater here in Missoula, and I heard so many people that said they were awesome, and including some people that I really trust their taste in music. And they said, hey, you got to go listen to them. So I started listening to them. I was like, oh, I like these guys. I like these guys a lot. And I was just wishing that I would have gone. So hopefully they come back. It seemed like it was a big hit here in Missoula. So come on back, Whiskey Buyers. We'd love to see you again. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio, coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal has roll-off boxes for your construction projects. They can get them to you within 24 hours. Don't wait days or even weeks for your construction roll-off box. Grizzly Disposal has them in stock. They can get them to you fast. Visit grizzlydisposal.com or call 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Let's do a Prep Extra. It's probably presented by Farmers State Bank. Farmers State Bank has been enriching the lives of Montanans since 1907. Here are the undefeated hoops teams left in the state of Montana. This is, we got a little spoiled, right? The Saco Whitewater Hinsdale, they call it North Country, the co-op up there in northeastern Montana. They had an unbelievable stretch that saw them lose one game in 3 years, right? 2 undefeated seasons and another 1-loss year is what they were able to have during a three-peat in Class C girls basketball. Box Elders boys went undefeated 2 years in a row in Class C boys basketball. Loyola, I think they lost 0 Class B games in 3 years during their three-peat. I think their one loss was to Dillon, who was the number 1 team in Class A, and that game went to overtime. So those boys, went about 80-1. I'm just estimating, but I guess you win 3 straight state championships. How many games do you play? Usually play 23 or 24 in a normal high school season. So you're somewhere between 68 and 72 games. So yeah, Loyola was 71-1 basically during that stretch. Same with North Country. I think Box Elder won 45 straight games. So we become accustomed to having teams go undefeated. Billings Central girls went undefeated last year as well. That's become sort of the norm. It ain't that easy. It's not that common to have all those teams doing that, and not just once. Once is impressive. Doing it multiple years in a row is sort of crazy, right? So there's only, let's count them up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 undefeated teams left. We're only 10 games into the year in high school hoops right now. There's only 9 undefeated teams left in Montana high school basketball. In Class AA, 1. The Bozeman Gallatin girls. They're off to a 9-0 start. They are the defending state champions. They lost a couple players from last year's team to graduation, but they're good players, but not the primary players. Jada Davis, who's headed to Eastern Washington, she's one of the primary players. She's a Cabo guard who's been a starter since she was a freshman. She's a senior now. She's one of the best players in the state. Ave Odegaard, she's also one of the best players in the state. She was an all-state player last year as a junior. She is sort of like a stretch 4, step outside and shoot her a little bit. She's got a great shot from all over the court. Smooth, high scorer. I actually heard this the other day because I heard it from her father, who was a friend of mine when I lived in Bozeman. Hadn't heard from him in a while. But he said that she has completed her recruiting. She has committed to St. Mary's of the West Coast Conference. So that's pretty cool. So we'll follow up on that. Either way, Bozeman Gallatin has a ton of talent, and it's no surprise that they're there. They look like the front runners to be the repeat champions of Class AA, but got to keep chipping away. Got to get it done. Class A hoops, no undefeated girls teams. That's how competitive it's been already early on here. Just 1 on the boys' side, and it's a relatively newcomer to the party. It's Lockwood. Lockwood is a relatively new high school. I think it's been around 5, 6, 7 years, right outside of Billings. But they're great. They're 10-0, only undefeated team in Class A. And that'd be interesting to just have sort of a new face at the table. Lockwood made state last year, which was a breakthrough for them. But we've had so many great teams in Class A coming out of Dillon, Billings Central, Butte Central. They've had some great teams. Hamilton's had some good teams. Frenchtown's had some good teams. But just having a new team there, Lewistown's had some good teams. A new team, though, with the seat at the table, that'd be pretty fun. In Class B, there's only 2 undefeated teams left, and they're both on the girls' side, none on the boys' side. The Glasgow girls are 10-0. They're a top 5 team right now. And the Loyola girls are undefeated. They are 9-0. And they are ranked number 2 in the most recent poll. I'm just scanning the standings real quick because I wanted to figure out. Oh, that's why. Okay, I believe Baker is also undefeated. I'm sorry. The standings that I'm looking at, the standings were not reported for the 3B, the 6B, or the 7B. So I think that Baker is also undefeated. They're the number 1 team in Class B. They have the best player, in my opinion, in the state, in Madison O'Connor, who's Montana State bound. And so you have to imagine they're right there, too. So maybe one extra. Let's just count them and say that that's 10 undefeated teams in the state of Montana, including 3 in Class B girls. But Loyola, Glasgow, and Baker have all looked like early contenders. I want to find out more about the Glasgow girls because I don't know much about them. If you're a listener in that part of the state, let us know. What do they got cooking up there in Glasgow? We learned a little bit about their football team earlier this year. They were great. They went all the way to the semifinals of the Class B playoffs. But I'm interested in the Glasgow girls basketball team. So if you have any info on them, let us know. We know about Baker, the O'Connor sisters. They're great. Loyola, also led by a pair of sisters, Spencer Laird, another one of the top prospects in the state of Montana. Her younger sister, Emmy, is one of the breakout stars right now in the state of Montana. She's only a freshman, but she's certainly one that's coming. So Loyola is certainly a team to watch as well. In Class C, you got 2 undefeated teams. They are both on the boys' side. The Scobie boys. Scobie won Class C 8-man in football. They were a semifinalist in basketball last year before they ducked out in the semis. So they sit at 10-0. That's a great start. The Forsyth boys are also undefeated. So they're one of the top teams in the state. So those two leading their proverbial pack. Speaking of this, Class C tournament in Missoula this year. So as we always do, we're going to cover all the levels of high school basketball. That's what we like to do. We like to highlight all the athletes. But we do like to do special interviews and storylines for whatever tournaments in Missoula, just because I know we're going to have a big audience there on statewide television. I know we got people streaming in from everywhere, all over the world, and, podcast listeners, et cetera, et cetera. But we have a formidable audience here in Western Montana. It's more than anything, though, like during the day, we can play all these promotional commercials for events that are happening in and around Western Montana. So we like to promote the state tournament that's in the Garden City, because that's just a cool thing for the city. The fact is that Missoula did not get a chance to host state basketball tournaments for a really long time. Like, this was not a thing when I was a kid, because so often when the Big Sky Conference awarded their regular season championship, that also came with the right to host the tournament. Well, guess who won the regular season 24 times under Robin Selvig? The Lady Grizz. So year in and year out, Dahlberg Arena was in use when state tournaments were going on because Lady Grizz were hosting the Big Sky tournament. That's no longer the case. The tournament's at a neutral site in Boise. So Dahlberg now gets to host championships. So we've had, I think it's been about 5 years now since they've been bidding on and getting championships, and that's awesome. So we like to highlight whatever's in Missoula. And this year it's Class C, so that gives us a chance to do a couple times a week some weekly coverage on Class C boys and girls basketball. One team that I'm very intrigued with, they lost their first game, I think, 2 weeks ago, but they still are sitting there at 9-1, is the Luster Christian boys basketball team. We've talked about this team a little bit in the past. Luster Christian is a private Christian boarding school that is like 35 miles northeast of Wolf Point. If you're like, where's Wolf Point? That's right. Wolf Point is tiny. It's a Class B town that's north of Great Falls. But Luster Christian is somewhere north of that. I don't know much more than that, other than they've been really good at boys basketball lately. They will be our first Class C spotlight subject this week. Our man Jeff Safford's on the trail. He's going to hunt down the head coach of Luster Christian boys basketball. So we'll hear from Luster Christian a little bit later on here this week. Back to the undefeated teams in Class C. On the girls' side, there's 3 of them. That's the largest number in any specific classification. Denton, Geyser, Stanford, Geraldine, the 4-way co-op, they are 10-0. They're undefeated. They're in the same district, district, as Millstone. So they're going to play. So one of those 2 teams is going to have to lose. But Millstone's also undefeated at 9-0. And then the Chester, Joplin, Inverness girls are also undefeated at 9-0. So 3 teams from tiny towns leading the way in Class C girls basketball. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. It is our Prep Extra, proudly presented by Farmers State Bank. Farmer State Bank, enriching the lives of Montanans since 1907. It's a Tuesday. That means it's Tag Tuesday, backed by popular demand. We give you a chance to win Taglieri Deli every single Tuesday. Those guys have been busy. They're building a new location in Spokane. How cool is that? Sandwich shop that started here in Missoula. They're branching out. They're getting into an out-of-state location. So, pretty cool, pretty awesome. Congratulations to Matt and the boys Matt and the folks, I should say, for all their great work there getting that thing done. Tag, if you're unfamiliar, has the most consistently delicious sandwiches you're going to find anywhere in the Garden City or in the state of Montana. You don't believe me? Well, People Magazine says so. The Food Network says so. If you want a $25 gift card to Taglieri Deli, call right now, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Call right now. Tag Tuesday every Tuesday here on Nuanez Now. Take a break, come back. We'll hear from Nate Harris. I wanted to just play his post-mortem following the rivalry game and also put it into perspective after they bounced back, the Lady Grizz did, for a great win, a nice win, I should say, yesterday. That is next here on 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Cold weather cravings? The Montana Club has got you covered with scratch-made comfort food to match every craving. From perfectly grilled steaks to satisfying salads, they're ready to handle your hunger. So grab a table with a reservation or keep it casual and order delivery straight to your door. Great food made easy. Visit MontanaClub.com to order or reserve and come warm up at your Montana Club. Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
Uh-oh. Fender bender? Did you hit a deer? Or something worse? Action Auto Body Missoula brings your car back to life. Their expert technicians use state-of-the-art equipment to get you back on the road fast. Insurance claims? No problem. Quality repairs? Guaranteed. When accidents happen, take action. Call Action Auto Body Missoula today. 406-728-9220. That's 406-728-9220. Or visit actionautobodymT.com. Action Auto Body Missoula, where Missoula's cars come back to life.
While winter may slow things down, the team at Black Mountain Lawn is still hard at work across Missoula. All winter long, Black Mountain Lawn helps Missoula homeowners with junk removal, tree trimming and removal, demolition work, grading, and draining fixes, plus landscape planning and estimates for spring. Winter is the perfect time to get ahead and beat the busy season. Visit blackmountainlandscaping.com, call 406-529-0793, or email dave@blackmountainlawns.com to schedule a winter estimate.
Buying a car shouldn't be an adventure, and at Missoula Chevrolet, it's not. Their team isn't paid on commission, so there's no pressure. Just honest help finding the right vehicle for you. You'll get real cash value for your trade, and the price you see, that's the price you pay. No back and forth, no guessing, no trail of fine print, just one low price, plain and simple always. So if you're ready for a smoother ride, on or off the road, head to Missoula Chevrolet and shop hundreds of vehicles in stock. Together, let's drive.
Canby Tap House is well known for having one of the best and biggest selections of tap beers anywhere in Montana. Did you know that Canby Tap House also has wine on tap? Wine on Tap gives Canby the ability to offer unique varieties of wines from all over the world at a good price point, and it's guaranteed to be fresh. Canby Tap House and Coffee has become a Missoula favorite. Swing in to see why. Canby has delicious food, an array of beverage options, and fresh wine on tap. Canby Tap House, located on Higgins across from Dornblazer Field in Missoula.
Angie Miller of Ryan Miller and Coburn has a background in biology, so she is an ace when it comes to medical malpractice.
Getting to know our clients. It isn't just, in and out the door, sign clients. It's really getting to know who they are, what they do in life, about their families. We still have clients to this day that we've represented, and they still reach out to us, every once in a while to let us know how they're doing, or we reach out to them.
You can call Ryan Miller and Coburn Law anytime at 406-542-2233. You can also visit online at rmcattorneys.com. Ryan Miller and Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
See, the ways of this world just bring you to tears. Keep the Lord in your heart and you'll have nothing to fear. Live the best that you can and don't lie and don't steal. Keep your nose on the grindstone and out of the pills. Well, Daddy, I've been trying. I just can't catch a break. There's too much shade.
Welcome back, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Here's what went down yesterday in the Big Sky Conference. Weird that they had games. It was not only because it was Martin Luther King Day. Every team in the league has to play this one stretch where they get a Thursday off. Then they play Saturday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday. So 4 games in 7 days. A very NBA-esque stretch. Again, you do get the weekday game off leading up to that in Big Sky play. Every team does it once. So that was where the Montana schools were at this last week. They got the Thursday before the rivalry off, and then they got to play after the rivalry on Monday. So here's what went down yesterday. The Lady Grizz bounced back for their first conference win of the season, 76-72. Millstone product Drea Wacker came off the bench for 15 points and 6 assists. Lady Grizz snapped a 5-game losing streak and got their first Big Sky win. In Flagstaff, the Montana men bounced back from their loss in Bozeman for a nice 98-72 win over NAU. Tejan Sawyer, 27 points. Money Williams had 25 points and 6 assists for the Grizz as they moved to 4-2 in conference play. In Bozeman, Montana State's women stayed unbeaten with a 71-57 win over Northern Colorado. Addison Harris poured in 23 points to lead MSU. Seiko product Tegan Erickson had 11 points off the bench for the Cats, and they moved to 6-0 in league play. And in Greeley, Colorado, Montana State's men remain in first place after their 73-68 win over Northern Colorado. Davion Brown hit 4 3-pointers and scored 16 points for MSU, and they moved to 5-1 in conference play. I wanted to share this yesterday, but we got sort of jammed up for time. Pertinent, but also the fact is that the Lady Grizz have won a game since this interview was recorded. But I do think it was important to share because I thought Nate Harris was very honest, but also emotional, and certainly disappointed after his team's 38-point loss in Bozeman. He talks about a lot of things, though, that they wanted to start improving, that they did improve in yesterday's game. So maybe that is a step forward for the Lady Grizz after the most lopsided loss they've ever had to the rival. Here is Nate Harris following Montana State's 82-44 win over Harris's Lady Grizz on Saturday afternoon in Bozeman.
Played better than us today. I need to do a better job in position. We thought we had a plan to break the press, had to change some personnel. As soon as we changed personnel at the front of the press, changed how we were going to attack in the half court. And Montana State's relentless. And Trish has done such a good job of getting those kids to play super hard and have very active hands and just attack. And it's hard. We have some kids that this is their first time. And again, I'm never making an excuse, but you play any game without your primary ball handler, it hurts. You play this game without your primary ball handler, it's pretty daunting. But again, liked our plan, had to make some changes, led to some tweaks on the back end of our offense that made us a little bit inefficient. And again, when they snowball you with some turnovers and with offensive rebounds, they're really, really good, as evidenced by. Again, I'd feel worse if they hadn't just done this to somebody else that's a pretty good team a week ago. Yeah, I believe in our team. That's what you're never going to get me to say otherwise. I'm going to relentlessly believe in our team until there's no more days left. We'll show up tomorrow and get after it and prepare for a chance to get off the snide on Monday. Yeah, our group's going to start winning. Our group's going to turn the corner. I'll never believe anything otherwise.
You know that's what Montana State wants to do. So at the beginning, though, what was the thing that eluded you guys while they were... I mean, I think they forced 14 turnovers in the first 6 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to take it out and try to change the message. We wanted to take it out with different people so we could be set with how we wanted in the half court. And we just really struggled to get it entered with what we had at the top of that press break. I don't know that it was a planned thing. I thought they played with great energy, and we had some people that, again, I made the decision to put people in positions they hadn't been in, hoping it would be successful, and it wasn't. So obviously, that comes back to me.
Second quarter, you made some defensive adjustments to look like you shifted into a zone, and they missed like 14 straight shots. So what helped buoy you guys during that stretch?
Well, it gets them to stop driving the ball a little bit. Don't want to give away all the secrets, but no, I thought the zone was great in the second quarter. Gave us the chances had we made some buckets to get it under 10, which I think would have helped us a ton mentally. Didn't happen. They closed with a couple buckets, so they were up 15. Even the start of the third, we were able to get some stops there. Early in the third, had it to 16, missed a couple layups. Again, if you can just get a little bit of doubt to creep in, you can help yourself. But we missed a couple, and then they came down and they got too comfortable against our zone, and we had some kids in different spots, and they buried a couple threes, and next thing you know, it goes from 16 to 25, and then they feel really good. The route was on.
Sorry. What's kind of your message, Nate, after this? Because there's obviously, I guess, 13 Big Sky games left to play. So, like, is that kind of what the messages after a game like this when it's a tough road loss?
Number one message, and this was just for me personally, is I refuse to ever feel like this in this building again. So whatever we have to do to fix it, we're going to. Because we will not feel like this in this building or in any building ever again. So that was my first message. But my second message is, if you don't still relentlessly believe that this team can accomplish something, leave whatever doubts you have here. Like, you get a chance. If you didn't grow today, grow tomorrow. And just keep focusing on the process of getting better and relentlessly believe in yourself, in the people that have your back, and in your teammates. But it doesn't work to go. It doesn't work to go feel bad about it. It doesn't work to go. And again, this is for myself as well. It doesn't work to go make excuses. What works is having self-awareness, honestly assessing what you did well, what needs to get better, and going to work on those things. Like that's what works in life, in basketball. And so it's just, hey, and again, we had this talk, like, this is what happened, this is what changed, this is why I felt clunky. And that's on me. That's something we got to get better at. But looking into, like, again, we talked a lot about, we got to take care of it. We got to defensive rebound. Those things didn't happen. How can you have the maturity to self-assess and be like, I wasn't great at that. And don't let somebody, again, my wife and my daughters are going to try to tell me that everything's all right and I'm the best coach in the world. I'm not. I got to get better. And so everyone in their life has people that are going to tell them, no, you're fine. It's this. It's. And until you can sit down and just be like, nope, I got to get better at this, it doesn't get better. But I think we're close, and that's what I told them. Coming into today, even fighting uphill with some personnel, like missing some personnel, like, I still think we're close. I think this team is going to go on a run. I'll never stop believing it.
Nate Harris here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. He's the head coach of the Montana Lady Grizz. Certainly an impassioned interview following a blowout loss, but Montana did bounce back yesterday. They shot the ball well. Jocelyn Land buried 6 3-pointers and scored 20 points. Drea Wacker had 15 points and 6 assists off the bench. And I'm not going to make too much out of a Lady Grizz win at home over a rebuilding NAU team, but you got to start somewhere. You already lost 5 straight conference games, so if you want to be anywhere in the mix, you got to start winning now, and you got to win at home, especially against teams that aren't Montana State. That's the thing, is, as Nate Harris said there, it's a bad loss. It's bad luck losing to your rival by 38. Montana State's also at a different level than everybody else. And that can, if you are frustrated by that, if you're the Lady Grizz, you should be. You were the ones that were at a different level than everybody else for a long time, but that's a long time ago. We're going to keep talking women's basketball on the other side. Chris Redpath, our guest. It's Around the Big Sky and Women's Hoops. We'll talk about the rivalry, the struggles of the Lady Grizz, and who else is contending in the Big Sky Conference. Hour 1 in the books. Hour 2 coming at you. It's 102.9 ESPN Radio. You know all that gunk that gets stuck on the bottom of your car? It's nice that the city of Missoula de-ices the roads for us, but that stuff can really hurt your paint job and erode the undercarriage of your rig. That's why it's important to keep your car clean all winter long at Dazzler's Car Wash. Get yourself an unlimited membership at Dazzler's Car Wash. For just $37 a month, you can get your car washed every single day. Treat your car like it deserves to be treated at Dazzler's Car Wash of Missoula, located at 2610 Radio Way in the Garden City. What do we Missoulians do best? We support our local stores. What do Palmer's and Lolo Drug do best? They provide the best in local pharmacy for our community. Palmer's Drug and Lolo Drug are the alternatives to big box chain pharmacies. Expect short wait times, free medication shipping, and friendly service. Palmer's Drug at 918 Southwest Higgins is the most convenient way to get your prescriptions in the Garden City. And if you're passing through Lolo, swing by Lolo Drug right off of Highway 93. Palmer's Drug and Lolo Drug, come discover what local pharmacy can do for you.
I had some health concerns, so I decided to have the Healthy MRI full body screening at Montana Imaging Center. This screening can detect cancer and other conditions and disorders early. I had the most amazing experience with Dr. McHugh and his staff. Any nerves I had going in melted away. I received my results within minutes of getting out of the machine. Dr. McHugh reviewed everything with me, and I left with peace of mind knowing that I'm okay. I even learned things that made me feel optimistic about my health. Visit MontanaImagingCenter.com to book your Healthy MRI today and feel great about tomorrow.
You might be thinking, what's the big deal about a kids menu? Well, once you have kids, you know. It seems like it's getting harder and harder to find kid-friendly meals at affordable prices. At Paradise Falls, the kids menu is not only diverse, it's a total steal. For some of the cheapest prices in town, you can get hamburgers, mac and cheese, and other kid favorites for super low prices. Paradise Falls is a family-friendly restaurant open 7 days a week. Come enjoy a meal with your kiddos in Paradise at Paradise Falls, 3621 Brook Street, Missoula's coolest hotspot.
Vertical Raise is the top fundraising platform, no matter what sort of organization you need to raise money for. Vertical Raise is an industry leader with elite technology that can help you reach the most vast audience possible, in turn, delivering a bigger check for you and your organization. In 2023, Vertical Raise Montana helped raise more than $1.5 million for high school sports organizations around the Treasure State, and the returns were more than 30% greater than any other fundraising program. To find out more about how Vertical Raise can deliver your organization the biggest check possible, visit verticalraise.com. Ladies, ready to dance the night away without staying out all night? Dance Till Dusk at the Badlander is January 31st. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. and it's wrapped up by 9:30 p.m. so you can party hard and still be in bed by 10. Plus a pre-party at Florid's Coffee and Cocktails with drink specials starting at 5. Because who says you can't be wild and well rested? Dance Till Dusk at the Badlander, Saturday, January 31st from 6:30 to 9:30. Follow Dance Till Dusk on Facebook and Instagram for more info.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
As buzz from the rivalry sweep continued to swirl around the state, all four of Montana's Division I basketball teams came out on the winning side on Monday. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Montana State swept Montana on the hardwood in Bozeman Saturday, helping continue MSU's recent domination of UM in almost every single sport. No rest for the weary, though, as all four teams were in action on Martin Luther King Day. In Missoula, Lady Grizz bounced back from a humiliating 38-point loss to the Bobcats to earn their first conference win and their first Division I victory at home. Jocelyn Land drilled 6 3-pointers, and Montana beat Northern Arizona 76-72. Millstone product Drea Wacker came off the bench to score 15 points and dish out 6 assists as the Lady Grizz snapped a 5-game losing streak. In Flagstaff, Montana men got back on the winning side with an offensive outburst. Tajon Sawyer poured in 27 points, Money Williams rolled up 25 points and 6 assists, and UM blew past NAU 98-72 to earn the season sweep of the Lumberjacks. In Bozeman, Montana State remained undefeated in Big Sky Women's Hoops with a 71-57 win over Northern Colorado. Addison Harris poured in 23 points to lead MSU, while Seiko product Tegan Erickson scored 11 off the bench as MSU moved to 6-0 in league play. In Greeley, Colorado, Montana State's men remain in first place after a 73-68 victory over Northern Colorado. Davion Brown hit 4 3-pointers and scored 16 points as MSU completed the season sweep of the Bears and moved to 5-1 in league play.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Grizzly Disposal now has no sort recycling. That's right. They'll pick up your cans, your cardboard, your plastic, right there from your house. One bin. They take care of it for you. To make the switch to locally owned and operated waste management services today, call 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Missing in the first hour of the show, tons of chatter. We talked about the national championship game victory by Indiana over Miami. We talked about the last undefeated teams in high school basketball, boys and girls, all classifications from around the state. And heard from Lady Grizz head coach Nate Harris, his post-game analysis after their loss in Bozeman. His team bounced back for a big win over Northern Arizona yesterday. All that on the podcast, available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. We'll keep on talking women's hoops right here. It's been a little while since we collaborated. She's got her own show now, so she's been filling the content all by herself. I haven't had Chris Redpath on Nuanez Now in a little while, but here she is. Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
So good to be here.
Well, first of all, how'd it go on Saturday? You're on the call for the women's game. Obviously, not the most competitive game in the world. That was probably challenging from a broadcast standpoint.
It actually really was challenging from a broadcast standpoint. Amazing. Over 4,000 fans in the Brick for the women's game first. I mean, there was a parade in downtown Bozeman to celebrate the national championship, and 10,000 people were at the parade, and a lot of them continued on over to Worthington Arena, and I thought that was really special. It is hard to call games that are that skewed, Coulter, because as a color analyst, you put together all this prep. You don't necessarily use it oftentimes because you're following the flow of the game.
Totally.
I used every bit of my prep in that game. So just, and I guess that's what makes it fun, right? To talk about Saco, Montana, to talk about Melstone, Montana, and the fact that Jamison Phillip is a member of Future Farmers of America. There's things like that I think our listeners and viewers like to hear about.
I got to talk to the Phillip sisters because I lived in Ellensburg for 2 years. Ellensburg, Washington is where they're from. And it's just funny because if you're from a small town like that, it's very rare that you meet other people that have lived in the town that you're from. Like the Grizz offensive line coach this last year, Cameron Norcross, he's from Ely, Nevada. I lived in Ely when I was a little kid. Ely is nothing. I mean, it is like population 1,600 in the middle of nowhere in Nevada. So I remember talking to him and being like, man, I live there. He's like, no way. He's like, I've never met anybody that's lived there besides me. So I got to talk to the Phillip sisters because I loved my time in Ellensburg. I thought that was a cool tidbit in the game is the fact that there was 3 Class C girls that all had impactful performances in the game. Drea Wacker had to play an elevated role as the point guard for Montana, backing up Macy Donarski, but she played quite a few minutes. And then, of course, Taylor Chirick was one of the stars of the show, as she always is, out of Roberts, Montana. And then Tegan Erickson also has been getting good minutes for the Bobcats as well. So, you played with a lot of small-town girls in your career. I just think it's cool when the Class C girls get a shot.
I love it. I love to see that, and they are the backbone and the foundation. And if you want to talk about Hoopers, where they're from, that's what they live.
Totally.
They know nothing other than basketball, and every game is an entire event for their small town. And I think that's really special.
Yeah, Trissa Binford talked about it after the game because she's from a very small town in Colorado, too.
Carbondale.
And she said, this is she said exactly that. These kids love the game. I'm always going to give small town kids a chance, she said, because these kids are going to love being in the gym. Because, what else is there to do in Saco, right? Tegan Erickson's mom is the head coach up there. Yeah. I mean, that was one of the great dynasties in Montana high school sports. They won 3 straight state championships with 1 loss in 3 years. So, that was an amazing run they went on up there in North County. But I just wonder, we see this in the women's game a lot. I just wonder why the men don't get more of an opportunity, because we've seen some great hoopers at the Class B and Class C levels because of similar dynamics.
Right. I think you have to be prepared to develop them, right? I think there is a little bit of a jump from Class C up to the college ranks. And I think the level of competition and there are some different facets to playing Class C versus even AA.
Totally.
In terms of just, and I wouldn't say it's quality of play. I would just say it's just different.
Yeah, it's just more depth, and there's a lot of factors, but these young ladies are all proving that they can contribute at a high level. To me, all due respect to Eli Gilman and Kaylee Ayat and Taco Dowler and Adam Jones and all these great football players, Taylor Chirick is the best athlete in the state of Montana. I don't know if she's the best basketball player, but she is an unbelievable athlete. Watching her play defense, it's a true spectacle. I found myself just doing that during this game because it was 15-2 in the rivalry game in the first 2 minutes. And by the end of the first quarter, Montana had already turned the ball over 14 times. You kind of see what was coming. So I just decided, okay, I'm just going to watch individuals for a while and just evaluate, how they move and where they're at. And Chirick is just, she is, for lack of a better word, she's majestic to watch. She is so graceful on the court.
She really is. And, Coulter, what I love about the way Taylor plays, too, is her anticipation.
Yes.
And she has one speed, right? So it's continual. It is a high motor. But her ability to see a play developing before it even, happens, and for her to just anticipate. And again, yes, do I think she's one of the most skilled players in the Big Sky? I think she's up there.
Sure.
But I would say that what she does with her ability extends so much further than just the stat sheet.
No doubt. And she's so disruptive. I mean, she puts the other team into just a state of terror. I mean, I feel bad for those Lady Grizz point guards because when she is on the ball, it is no easy task. Like, you have to work to get it up every single time.
And then she's really stepped up offensively. So Coach Binford moved her off ball this year and just wasn't quite sure what she was going to have. I mean, Coach Binford, pretty amazing. She loses 8 last year.
Totally.
And this is what she comes back with. Not one senior on this roster.
Crazy.
But I also think the collective defensive effort also contributes. I mean, you got Taylor Chirick, but you also have an Ella Johnson. You have a Jamison Phillips. You have all of these continual hands, and that trap is so tough to pass around.
Yeah, it totally is. Chris Redpath in studio with us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, talking all things women's hoops coming out of the rivalry game, which for a variety of reasons was a stunner because it was the largest margin of victory ever when Montana State and Montana have played. The least amount of points the Lady Grizz have scored in a rivalry game in 50 years. So we'll come back to Lady Grizz in just a minute, but I want to stay on the Cats just for a second because I do think it's such a great story. We sort of come to expect Tricia Binford to have very competitive teams, but the fact that you lose the Big Sky Conference MVP in Esmeralda Morales, Mara Dykstra is supposed to be your returning all-league forward, and she's playing at Michigan State now. Natalie Picton's supposed to be, your spark plug guard. She's playing at Sac State now, and just on down the line, multiple graduations.
Lexi Deedens at Colorado State.
I mean, like, so much talent that left, and like you said, 8 players from last year's 30-win team out the door. Well, as of last night, Montana State beat Northern Colorado to complete the season sweep of the Bears. They're 6-0 in league play. They're 13-4 overall. They're not missing a beat. Like you said, they don't have a senior on this roster. How have they been able to do this? This is very impressive that they remain the cream of the crop despite all they lost.
Well, and one thing that I think, this is what I think is the difference, Coulter, is a standard. There's a standard over with Coach Binford, and she demands a certain level of play.
Yes.
And it's going to start on the defensive end, and she's going to dictate pace, and she is going to try to push, and she is committed to playing whoever she needs to in order to get what she wants. And so she will play 10 kids deep. And she did. Against Montana. She keeps fresh legs. I mean, you look at Taylor Chirick, ended up with 19 points, but only 24 minutes.
Yeah, not much.
So it's not like she's over. I mean, she is going to make sure she keeps those fresh legs in. And I think that once you're at the top like that and you're winning consistently and she's continually producing teams that either compete for a championship or they're right there, there is a standard. And I think that that's exactly what she has set this tone for Montana State and the Big Sky.
Well, it's such an important part of a sports organization, especially at the collegiate level, is to have that standard and not let the standard slip, right? I mean, that's what we always talk about. There is no such thing as maintenance in Division I college sports. You're either going up or you're going down, and to keep pushing even after you set the Big Sky record for wins in a season, it's very impressive, and she's been able to do it in fine fashion and in short order. I was so impressed with Jamison Phillip. I mean, the next one. I mean, Tricia Binford's had a great point guard since I moved back to Montana 15 years ago, but she just keeps on doing it. And I was loving the poise that this young lady showed in her first rivalry game.
Well, I think there's also uncertainty, right? With losing Dylan Phillip, you're going, okay, she was a player last year. She was a huge part of the championship run last year. And then you have Jamison, who's a freshman. You just don't know where a freshman is going to step in. And again, just total poise and athletic. She finished well around the rim. I mean, her ability to get to the rim, but then to finish was just so impressive and showed a maturity that you don't normally see out of freshmen.
What did you make of that part? Because Phillip got to the rim at will. And Montana made one defensive adjustment in the second quarter that sort of threw a wrench into Montana State for about 5-6 minutes, but they weren't really able to cut the lead at all. And then after that, Montana State just solved Montana's zone, and then they did whatever they wanted offensively.
I think, honestly, Montana, they just struggle with physicality.
They do.
They just aren't the toughest team. And and again, I think it's going to get better. We just finished week 3.
Yeah.
So, you want to see the upward trend towards Boise. We're all talking about Boise. But I think Montana State just has that physicality edge. And Jamison, quick first step.
Yep.
And I don't think Montana was playing great team defense where they were helping each other out. And, I have to say, Coach Binford was keeping that floor spread and giving her guards and giving her players the ability to penetrate that paint, and it wasn't clogged. And Dylan was just able to finish.
Yeah, the 2 times when they kicked out to Isabel Bunyan and she nailed threes, then that's when the whole zone broke down, and then it was just...
Great point there. Absolutely.
I mean, and then it was just whatever you want after that. The lead went from 20 to 30 to 40, pushed all the way to 44 at one point, and you're just thinking, wow, what an effort by Montana State, and also where do the Lady Grizz turn? So let's go there for a minute. Montana... Wow, I think that some of this stuff is just circumstantial deficiencies. Mm-hmm. You know, you're missing your best player, your primary ball handler. I mean, the plan for the Lady Grizz this year was to play Matt Koenig for 35 or 36 minutes a game with the ball in her hands as often as possible. So not having that player really hurts you, I think. But I also think, and I asked Avery Waddington about this on Tuesday, I think that they, especially when it comes to the physicality parts of the game, and particularly rebounding, I think they are all just sort of lost because Danny Barch took care of that for them last year, right? Like they're all sort of having to learn how to rebound because they have to replace somebody that you would go get 12 or 14 rebounds every single night in conference play.
Well, and I also think replacing MJ Bruno also.
Totally.
I think
that was their best on-ball defender for sure.
Right. I do think the way that Nate's system is more of a 5-out, more of a spread, and look for those, they want the rhythm threes. That's what the Lady Grizz want. And so it does put you out of rebounding position. And I think that's what even makes me give more kudos to Avery Waddington with averaging over 7 rebounds a game in that system. That's really difficult.
It's hard.
And so I think she's young. She's a sophomore. And so we saw Danny Barch last year that was a veteran and had gone through, playing 5 years of college ball. And so I think that we're still seeing, Avery Waddington, although I think she has the ability to become Big Sky Conference MVP. I mean, I think she's a premier player. She's someone you build around. I do think that it has been more challenging for her to understand where she can get those boards, those extra boards. And I think you nailed it, Coulter, in that's what they're missing this year.
That and just I think the lack of veterans on their team. I mean, you look at their roster. Dre Wacker's been around for a little while, and so she's one of the only upperclassmen on the team. Matt Koenig is a senior; she's the only senior on the team, and she's out right now. But other than that, everybody that's playing is young. I mean, Macy Donarski's a sophomore. Eddie Waddington's a sophomore. Ray Ehrman is a freshman.
Kenny Gillette,
I guess she's a junior because she's a junior college guy, but still first year playing Division I basketball. Jocelyn Land is only a sophomore. And by the way, she played great yesterday. She hit 6 threes, and that's kind of what the Lady Grizz need. That's the thing I have the biggest question about is I think that, okay, some of the team defense stuff when you're a young team, I think it'll come along. The rebounding stuff, I mean, Nate Harris talked about it extensively the last 2 weeks about how that is absolutely a priority that they have to figure out. He knows it's an issue, so they're working on it. I just wonder, can you survive with playing a do-or-die style? Like, the Lady Grizz need to hit 12, 14 threes in a game to be able to have success. And when they do, they've had success. That just has only happened 4 or 5 times in their 15 games so far. So I wonder how sustainable that barometer is.
Yeah, and he's not moving from it. So totally. I think that is where he has made it clear that he will coach to his system. And so I think finding the right personnel pieces is what he's trying to do. Coulter, I do think that the Lady Grizz, I think that there are other avenues of the game that I would like to see them improve. And I think Avery Waddington just getting more touches for her. I think we're seeing some, she played really well last night and she got after it.
For those that missed it, Montana had a 76-72 win over Northern Arizona, and that's their first conference win. So, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a huge step forward, but it's a first step forward. And I think that, like I said yesterday on the show, number one thing for the Lady Grizz is you can't finish last. That's not a thing. You cannot finish last in the league. And I don't expect them to finish last, but that's the first step towards attaining not that.
And let's be honest, they're not going to see that defensive pressure out of every Big Sky team like they did.
No, nor are they going to see a quality of a team like Montana
Right.
State.
And so I think that was just almost like the perfect storm going on down in Bozeman.
Totally.
And to me, it showed a lot of resolve to come back on Monday and to get that win against a very pesky Northern Arizona team. I mean, Naomi White is one of the best players in the league, and I think Laura Dinkins is doing a phenomenal job in her first year. So there's no rollover team in NAU coming into Dahlberg. I like the way Avery, she had 7 shots. but she rebounded the ball well. She wasn't in double figures for points, but I think involving her more. I think where the Lady Grizz, they want to dictate pace, right, Coulter? They want to really play fast. They got to take care of the basketball. And that's the biggest thing with that style of play. I mean, 32 turnovers against Montana State. They also had 19, though, against NAU. So they got to clean up some of that. So some of that, I feel like if they do make some changes and some adjustments, just get on the glass a little bit more aggressively, clean up the turnovers, and continue to be them on the offensive end, I think you'll see some improvement.
They sit at 4-13 right now overall, 1-5 in conference play. The message has not quite shifted towards just making a run in March, but certainly that's something that Nate Harris is talking about. If they get Matt Coating back and they continue to improve, is this a team that can make a run in March?
I think so. I mean, I honestly look at the Big Sky all the way 1 through 10, and I think any of the Big Sky teams could make a run. I mean, even Weber right now, that's winless Weber.
Yeah.
I do think that they've got some players. I mean, they got a Hannah Robbins, Montana State transfer that's doing well, and Emma Nopu, they're big, that's plays aggressively. So I think that your whole goal is to be playing your best basketball. Arthur Morera actually said it best to me. He said, Krista, last year we took our foot off the gas in January because I was concerned about injuries.
Sure.
I felt like we were playing such great basketball that I started making our practices less competitive because I didn't want our kids to get hurt. And that completely worked against me because by the time we got to Boise, we had complacent kids and we weren't playing our most competitive, fiery basketball. And so I think what you're trying to do is, the 1,000th mile journey begins with one step. I think the trajectory is you're trying to trend upwards, and you got to find the small wins every weekend and try to build off of those.
Well, big weekend for the Montana schools this weekend because this is the hardest stretch of the season. You play the rivalry game in Bozeman, then you play the Monday games yesterday. By the way, Montana State moved to 6-0 in conference play yesterday with a 71-57 win over Northern Colorado. But now then you have two more games, Thursday, Saturday, back to the normal schedule. So that gives you 4-7 basically by the time Saturday's done. So it's a grueling deal, and it's particularly grueling on the women's side, and particularly if they're Lady Grizz, because you had to play 3 of those 4 on the road. But it's a massive game Thursday. I know that sounds silly to say that 2 teams with 1 combined conference win is massive, but it is. If you're the Lady Grizz, if you go to Weber and win, now you got a little bit of momentum.
Well, right. And I think non-conference schedule was brutal for the Lady Grizz.
No question.
I mean, it just really was. And so I think as a coach, you're looking to obviously bring in some revenue to the university. You're getting paid for some of those games. But I mean, morale, right, Coulter? I mean, morale, you want to put together a couple games where you can let your kids get into a flow.
Sure.
So that's exactly, to your point, why Thursday is really big for them.
Absolutely, because you're playing a like opponent. It's a game you're supposed to win. I mean, we said that in our analysis of the Lady Grizz coming into this. The non-conference, you're disappointed by losing by the margin that you're losing by, but I don't think anybody expected them to go beat Oregon or South Dakota State or BYU. They actually had BYU on the ropes, and they could have won that game. But regardless, I mean, there was a 5-game stretch there where it would take a huge upset for them to win those games, but now it's when you lose at home to St. Thomas, or when you drop to a like opponent, when you get swept on the road against Northern Arizona, Northern Colorado. Those are the things where you're looking and you're thinking, okay, what's going on with this Lady Grizz team? Where's their confidence level at? Because those should be like pretty even games in terms of talent.
For sure.
Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Okay, last on the Montana schools, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the rest of the Big Sky Conference. Where are we at with the ceiling for Montana State? Could they run it again?
I am so impressed with them.
I mean, I am so impressed with them.
And I think when you play that type of defensive style of play, and I think the one weakness that I've seen out of this Montana State team is they will get a little too on the offensive end, they might throw up some shots that aren't the best, right?
Right.
So that's their one weakness, but at the same time, defensively, they're able to just lock down teams.
Right.
And so
that's why you deal with it if you're a coach, right? You take a bad shot, but it's not like it affects you on the other end, because then they just slap the defense right back on you.
Right. And so I think, though, if they can figure that piece out, Coulter, I think they could definitely. And I mean, what's really interesting about them is that with their, the net ranking is of 72 right now. And also, I don't know how familiar, I don't want to go into the whole quad system, but they do have some really good quad 1 win with beating Colorado.
It's a big time win.
And also beating UNLV at home. And then the 4 losses that they have this year, those teams are combined 56-13. And so when you look at that coupled with winning 30 games last year and getting a 13th seed, you do see Montana State, if they do run the table, all of a sudden they're looking at getting a better seed because the NCAA committee is going to be looking at all of these different factors.
Yes.
And I know that my sophomore year as a number 9 seed, we lost to Texas Tech by 2, but that puts you in a different category when you can get in those 9, 10s, 11s versus 13, 14, 15, 16.
Yes.
So if you're Coach Binford, I know you probably don't love me talking about this. She's probably like, Krista, don't say that on the air. But you do have to look at that and think that it could be really exciting for Montana State.
It absolutely could. And they deserve so much credit for scheduling such a great non-conference schedule. I mean, to go play Troy, North Dakota State, Oregon State. You mentioned the win at Colorado, which is a big-time UNLV. I mean, the UNLV won 31 games last year. That's a great win for Montana State. So they challenged themselves. And I think last year they played a decent non-conference schedule and then ran through the Big Sky. And I think that just having, if they would have won the Utah game, for example, last year, that even just that one win would have got them up a notch. But I do agree with your point, too, about the familiarity with the committee.
Yes.
We've seen this in the men's side, too. Like the last time the Grizz got a good seed, it's because they've been to the NCAA tournament 2 times before that, too, right? The committee's looking at it and saying, okay, these guys have been here before.
Right.
Let's give them a 12 instead of a 14 and let's see what they can do. And the Grizz won a game because they got the right seed.
And also, women's basketball you hear about the same schools every year. You hear it's like there is a definite top for women's basketball. And I think that you definitely don't want to be a 16 or 15 or even a 14 because those teams, I mean, you're playing South Carolina, Duke. I mean, you're playing some tough teams.
I mean, every year that the Big Sky has gotten a 13, it's been a game where the Big Sky team can hang. They can,
Ohio State. I mean, and Montana State hung with them last year.
They hung with them.
Right.
Idaho State when they played Kentucky, they hung with that team. You end up losing by double digits or whatever, but it's not like you're getting doubled up. When you have to go play, when the Cats had to go play Stanford at Stanford, it's like, what are we even doing here? That was a great Montana State team, but they have to go. I mean, that team made the Final Four. It's not the same level of competition. So, just for the Big Sky's sake, hopefully Montana State can keep it going because I think it would be a very good thing. Who else is Chris Redpath in studio with us here on Nuanez Now? Who else has impressed you so far? I guess about a third through the Big Sky season.
Well, I'm really impressed with both the Idaho schools. So Idaho, I think that he's
done a great job.
Arthur Mahura has done a fantastic job, and I do think that the play of Kira Gardner getting the transfer from Washington State, I think Hope Hassman just evens out that guard play, and you have Deborah Dos Santos who just got her 1,000th point, but she was a 4-star recruit out of the portal out of San Francisco, and that was a really big get for him. Lorena Barbosa is their 6'4" girl. I mean, she's only playing 15 minutes a game, but she comes in and gets her 4 points, her 6 boards. I think that he's just done a really good job building a team that can put up some offense. They average over 80 points. They hit a Montana State team that maybe they only put up 67, but then they bounce right back, and they have the opportunity, and I look at their personnel to be a team that's in the mix. I also really like Idaho State. So we know Coach Sobolewski. We know his style.
Yep. He's got an identity.
And he does. I mean, they lost Sophia Cavello this year. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I think knee. But Tasia Jordan, to me, is one of the best players in the league.
She was a rising star last year, and she's very good so far this year.
She can dunk. She elevates. You watch her shoot a jump shot, she actually gets up.
Yeah.
But Casey Spink, to me, Alyssa Aby, I mean, he's got some players, and I feel like Seton Sobolewski is that coach that will continue to push that defense and push that grind and make his kids work really hard.
Aby from Montana, right? She's a Laurel girl, right?
She's a Laurel girl. So.
Yeah, her older brother played football for the Cats for a minute. I think her father was, he had something to do with Montana State athletics once upon a time. I'll have to check in with our resident historians, Bill Lamberty and Tom Schultz. How about Schultz retiring?
Oh.
I texted him last week. I said, man, this is really weird. I always reach out for all my interviews for the week, and now I'm texting you just to see what you think of the game because I don't have anything for you to do. Tom Schultz has been at Montana State basically the entire time I've been alive. I think you started there the year I was born. So
Gary Schwartz was the head coach for Montana State in 1988.
Amazing.
When he started, and to see what he went through and what the changes for women's basketball culture, and to be able to be on this ride with Coach Binford and see all the success, that's just incredible.
It's awesome. And I know that industry has changed. So much of it's become about exposure and social media and all that sort of stuff. And that's fine. It is what it is. Everything in the world changes. But I just hope people still have a reverence for history because I think history is important. And there's never been anybody I've worked with that's better at archiving the history of a place than Tom. Tom did such a great job. His record book is nails. I mean, he's like an encyclopedia. I need to know a stat. I just text him. There it is. It's like ChatGPT, Montana State women's sports. He's just got it on lock.
I know. And after the game, I got a chance to visit with him, and it was just neat for him to come in being retired. He's in his cat gear and he can just enjoy.
Yeah.
But I was like, Tom, I was struggling with how to pronounce Jasmine's married name, which I was like, I'm either going to text Tom or Coulter, but I ended up finding my notes because she went into the Hall of Fame.
Yep, Jasmine Hamas, Moyakiola.
Moyakiola.
I'll always remember that because Na'a Moyakiola, Jasmine Hamas' husband, he is the person that taught me how to say Polynesian last names because he was a great player for the Cats. And this was when I was doing radio in Bozeman. And I was like, man, you're going to make a lot of tackles and I need to know. So, I need a lesson. So he sat me down and taught me how to do it. So I'll never forget Moyakiola.
Well, what a power couple they are.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And so, anyway, Tom said, Krista, you can always text me. And I have texted him twice this week. So he's still going to hear from me.
Well, congrats on the retirement to Mr. Tom Schultz. He's done a great job there at Montana State, and we certainly miss you. Looking forward to see whoever fills that spot, but big shoes to fill, no doubt about it. One last thing around the Big Sky. Are you surprised that Idaho has been able to have so much success in the portal?
I'm not actually. After getting to know Arthur Morera and his ability to, work on relationships and the way he is, he's charismatic, he's steady. I think, they
got that sweet new arena to recruit to. That's a big deal.
I mean, I was a little concerned with that. I mean, they had all that success with John Newley.
Yes.
Very consistent, right?
And you knew what they were going to do. You knew what they were about. They had a style and he had an identity and, he had a persona and all those sorts of things.
But what I've liked about Arthur Morera and when I've visited with him, because I've gotten to know him, is he will coach to personnel. So last year he had to be more defensive minded.
Totally.
But I think this year when he was looking to bring some of these more offensive kids into his program, he's like, I'll adapt. You can shoot. You can shoot for me. You can score. And I think some of those kids were like, okay, that's what we want. I mean, Akira Gardner was kind of on lockdown at Washington State. She just didn't get a lot of opportunity playing with an Arthur Morera that gives you more freedom. So, no, I'm not really surprised by that.
It's been refreshing to watch because they're objectively, Idaho is a totally different style than they were a year ago in Morera's first year. Right. The roster is different. I mean, they had a huge turnover as well, and it's totally different. So who do you think is, we know for right now, we're a third of the way through the Big Sky season. Montana State's sitting in the driver's seat, no question. They're 6-0, and you watch them. You and I were talking off camera. I mean, they're at a different level than the big. Mm-hmm. They look like they're a real, true mid-major power.
Yes,
they look like you turn on the Mountain West, or they look like those teams. Absolutely, with their length and their size, their speed, their athleticism, all that stuff. Who's the number one contender to challenge Montana State? Do you think?
Well, I would put one of those Idaho schools, but there's a couple more I want to mention. Northern Colorado. I think Coach Matteo, I really like the way Nina George plays. I also like Heather Bayman, who's been incredible off the bench. I think that, Coach Matteo can give Montana State a look, but I also think Eastern Washington, Jody Gleason, Courtney Grossman's incredible.
There's only one player in the country that's averaging more than 12 rebounds per game. That's Courtney Grossman from Billings, Montana, who plays for Eastern Washington.
And Elin Bowers, who's their freshman from Wyoming, she's sensational. I'm telling you, she's going to be one of the best players in the league. So keep a watch on her. So I think as she grows and gets more experience, and you have a JC Eggers, even Emily McElberry's been giving them such good minutes. She played great here at Dahlberg Arena.
Got 13 points against the Lady Grizz off the bench for Eastern Washington. So I'm sure that was an interesting thing because she's obviously from Missoula and her family is a Grizz legacy family. So it probably felt pretty good for Emily to get some points at Dahlberg Arena.
I think Idaho probably could challenge the Cats the most. And the reason I say that is they can also match the offensive side. They can put up points too. So I think that if you can, you got to be able to score against Montana State. You just have to. And you got to be able to take care of the basketball. I mean, I do think that there are times where Montana State has quarters where, Coach Binford was not happy with the second quarter against
Not happy.
Grizz.
Yeah.
And she let me know that after the game too. And so, I think there's moments where that youth will show.
Yes.
But what she's able to do is just almost reset with new kids.
Totally.
If she's got something that she doesn't like out there, well, she'll just change it.
Just change it. It's crazy because I was sitting next to somebody on press row that had not watched Montana State women very much. And when she was doing her substitutions, sometimes she'll just bring 3 or 4 players off the bench right away. It's like a line change in hockey. And they were like, Wait, that's how they do it? I'm like, oh, yeah, that's how she does it. She does that all the time, where she just brings 2, 3, 4 new players in right at the same time.
I do want to give a shout out to Cadence Couture, the Missoula Big Sky girl. I mean, she played really well, Coulter.
Oh, she's good.
And she is good, but I don't know, like, defensively, I have seen a whole nother side to her.
Totally.
Which I think in high school, right, we're all offensive-oriented.
Totally.
I mean, I felt the same way.
Well, and at Big Sky, they were making Couture play 1 through 5. I mean,
right.
She's like bringing the ball up, and then sometimes she's playing center. She's guarding the center because she's the tallest player on the court, right. Even though she should be guarding the perimeter because she's like more like a combo guard. But she's playing the 4 at Montana State. But yeah, they've done a great job developing her already. I mean, she needed to take a jump to be able to play as a true freshman, and she has made that jump, and she's contributed really well.
Well, and also Coach Binford will play those players.
Totally.
She'll play those kids. So she's given the Grace Heinz, Blythe Holmes' daughter,
yes.
minutes. She's given opportunity for these kids to come in and build confidence.
No doubt. The one thing that gives Montana State such a firm grip on the driver's seat right now in women's basketball is the fact that they've already swept Northern Colorado because of this weird scheduling.
Well, that's why
anomaly.
I couldn't say Northern Colorado would be the team that could possibly cause some noise in the tournament.
Totally. And then UNC's got some stuff going on for sure. I just looked to the trip when the Montana schools have to go on the Cheney Moscow swing. That would be a big deal. That's the beginning of February, the 5th and the 7th. Montana State will be in Moscow on the 5th, and then Cheney on the 7th, and then opposite for the Lady Grizz. But I think that's going to be a pivotal trip for the Montana schools. Krista Redpath, you can find her show, the Krista Redpath Show, 3 p.m. on Thursdays here on 102.9 ESPN Radio. What's coming up this week?
Well, we have our last coach feature.
Very nice.
Laura Dinkins, NAU. She was a player for NAU. She was the only part of the only team that ever went to an NCAA tournament for NAU.
She was a great player, great rebounder.
Yeah, Defensive Player of the Year in 2007. She has a blown Achilles right now for thinking she was a lot younger and getting out on the scout team.
See, this is why I quit playing noon hoops.
Right? So she's in a boot right now. But I am so impressed with her. And her husband is her associate head coach.
Oh.
And they have 2 little ones, like a 1.5 and a 3-year-old. So, I mean, even more impressed with what she can do.
So impressive.
So she's my last coach feature. And then I'm going to start... I'm going to Bob Schofield. I'm going to actually have an official on my show.
Nice.
And probably some other people that are, I'd love to get like a Leon Costello.
Yes.
Or, just to talk about some things in a little bit more in depth. We got everything handled with Nuanez Now for all of our up-to-date sports talk radio, but it's nice to dive in and get some more of the narrative pieces for my show.
Well, certainly we'll collaborate with Krista throughout the rest of the basketball season, but be sure to check out her show at 3 p.m. every Thursday right here on 102.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Coulter.
Continued contributions. We're up against it. We'll take a break, come back. Treasure State Stars, proudly presented by Parkside Credit Union. We'll go through some of the best individual performances from across the state of Montana. A lot of great high school hoops going on right now over the weekend. Some who's who and some breakout performances as well. That's next. Don't change it. Keep it right here. 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Cold weather cravings? The Montana Club has got you covered with scratch-made comfort food to match every craving. From perfectly grilled steaks to satisfying salads, they're ready to handle your hunger. So grab a table with a reservation or keep it casual and order delivery straight to your door. Great food made easy. Visit MontanaClub.com to order or reserve and come warm up at your Montana Club. Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
Brr, it's cold in here. There must be an iceberg in my heater. No worries. Liberty Electric is here to warm up your household. Since 1979, the professionals at Liberty Electric have been helping residents and businesses stay warm through the winter with efficiency and affordability. Warm body, happy wallet. Liberty Electric can help you today. Call 406-541-WIRE. That's 406-541-9473.
All Nations Health Center is committed to keeping you vibrant and full of energy by supporting your physical, mental, and spiritual health. All Nations Health Center in Missoula offers a variety of services to the Indigenous and non-Indigenous people of Western Montana. All Nations offers primary care doctors, behavioral health services, mental health counseling, and even dental. All Nations currently serves more than 2,000 registered clients who are proud Indigenous people. For more information about how All Nations Health Center can help you, visit allnations.health.
Make the switch to Farmer State Bank and you'll instantly become part of something bigger, something different, something more. That's because we are a community bank. That means local banking, local decision making, local support for the people, businesses, and communities you care about. Switch to local. Switch to Farmer State Bank, your Montana bank since 1907. An equal housing lender and member FDIC.
All Nations Health Center is committed to keeping you vibrant and full of energy by supporting your physical, mental, and spiritual health. All Nations Health Center in Missoula offers a variety of services to the Indigenous and non-Indigenous people of Western Montana. All Nations offers primary care doctors, behavioral health services, mental health counseling, and even dental. All Nations currently serves more than 2,000 registered clients who are proud Indigenous people. For more information about how All Nations Health Center can help you, visit allnations.health.
If you know, you already know. The Desperado Sports Tavern and Grill has the best wings in the city of Missoula. But if you don't know, you need to tune into Nuanez Now each Wednesday during the 4 o'clock hour for your chance to win a dozen wings from the Desperado Sports Tavern and Grill. Wing Wednesday, the longest standing promotion on your favorite daily sports talk show. So be sure to tune in every single Wednesday between 4 and 5 p.m. for your opportunity to win a free basket of wings from the Desperado Sports Tavern and Grill. Wing Wednesday, every Wednesday, presented by the Despo.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
As buzz from the rivalry sweep continued to swirl around the state, all 4 of Montana's Division I basketball teams came out on the winning side on Monday. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Montana State swept Montana on the hardwood in Bozeman Saturday, helping continue MSU's recent domination of UM in almost every single sport. No rest for the weary, though, as all 4 teams were in action on Martin Luther King Day. In Missoula, Lady Grizz bounced back from a humiliating 38-point loss to the Bobcats to earn their first conference win and their first Division I victory at home. Jocelyn Land drilled 6 3-pointers, and Montana beat Northern Arizona 76-72. Millstone product Drea Wacker came off the bench to score 15 points and dish out 6 assists as the Lady Grizz snapped a 5-game losing streak. In Flagstaff, Montana men got back on the winning side with an offensive outburst. Tejon Sawyer poured in 27 points. Money Williams rolled up 25 points and 6 assists, and UM blew past NAU 98-72 to earn the season sweep of the Lumberjacks. In Bozeman, Montana State remained undefeated in Big Sky Women's hoops with a 71-57 win over Northern Colorado. Addison Harris poured in 23 points to lead MSU, while Seiko product Tegan Erickson scored 11 off the bench as MSU moved to 6-0 in league play. In Greeley, Colorado, Montana State's men remain in first place after a 73-68 victory over Northern Colorado. Davion Brown hit 4 3-pointers and scored 16 points as MSU completed the season sweep of the Bears and moved to 5-1 in league play.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Bet another 6-pack, bet I make a comeback. I know that this table's gotta lean. Won't you take me fishing, and I wanna try out for the 7th grade football team. You'll probably be nothing but this town's old drunkard and die on a smoke-stained stool. But right now he's got a bargain that he's taking too far on his boys' game of 9-ball pool. My father was a better man, but I got myself a steady hand.
Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Grizzly Disposal now has recycling. They can pick it up at your house. No sort recycling. They can do cardboard, plastic, cans, one bin. They take it for you. Want to make the switch? 541-7171. That's 541-7171. Time for our Treasure State Stars, probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. Parkside Credit Union, a great place in Western Montana to get a loan because Parkside Credit Union loves to say yes. Love when athletes bounce back. Butte High was the last undefeated team in Class AA on the boys' side. They were the number 1 team in the first poll, top ranked, and then they lost the very next night. Well, they bounced back in a big way on Saturday in their loss, in Butte High's loss to Helena Capital, Hudson Letke, who's one of the best players in the state, in my opinion, he was held to only 9 points. Well, he took it upon himself to will his team to victory against Helena High Saturday, and Butte High gets a 75-65 win over the Bengals behind 35 points from Hudson Letke. So Butte High, they're contenders. As long as he's healthy, they are absolutely going to be right in the mix. Treasure State star number 2, Bernicia Huggs. She's from Plenty Coup. She is making an assault on a lot of the all-time records in Class C. She is just pouring it in right now. She's averaged more than 20 points per game 3 years in a row. She's up more towards like 30 points per game right now. Over the weekend, Hugs had 47 in Plenty Q's 90-43 win over Roberts. Pretty impressive. Warriors moved to 4-2 with the win. Thursday star number 3, Lexi Laframboy. I hope I'm saying that right. She is from St. Ignatius, and she had 42 points Friday night to lead St. Ignatius to a 73-69 overtime win over Troy. So that was one of the best games of the weekend. 42 points is nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of points for in a girls' basketball game at the high school level. Curtis State start number 4, Dawson Hammond. He's a future Montana Grizz football player, but he had 28 points for Malta as they had a total scoring outburst in an awesome shootout against Poplar. Malta had 107 points. Poplar had 83, and Malta, they kept rolling. They're number 3 in Class B. Dawson Hammond, the future Grizz, had 28 points. Kasner Oxart had 19 points. Cruz Stiles had 19 points, and Kasner Oxart had 19 points. So a lot of contributions. You need a lot of contributions if you're going to get to 107 points when you're playing 8-minute quarters. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points per minute in a high school basketball game. Thursday star number 5, Landon Lawrence from Forsyth. Forsyth is one of the only last undefeated teams left in the state of Montana. Lawrence had 28 points to lead Forsyth to their 10th straight win, 78-39 over Bridger. Thursday star number 6, Marissa Snyder from Ennis. She's appeared on this list several times. She's a sweet shooter. I thought she was borderline D1. She's a little bit undersized, but I don't know like how fast she is, but she's a nasty shooter. And she's been great for Ennis. She's going to have them in the mix for sure. She had 28 points in Ennis's 79-43 win over Townsend. By the way, Schneider, she's committed to it's escaping me. She's committed to a frontier school, so she's going to college for basketball, and that's certainly a great accomplishment. I just thought maybe she could be like a fringe walk-on type player for Lady Grizz, Lady Cats, but either way, she's a great one, and she'll be worth following for Ennis. They're number 7 right now in Class B. Thursday star number 7, Maddie Tesoro from Three Forks. She had 28 points for the Wolves as they beat Lone Peak 67-26. So we're keeping track. Maddie Tesoro beat the Bighorns by herself. She had 28, they had 26. So worth highlighting, I thought. Next Thursday star, I didn't put numbers on these because I just went through all the box scores from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so I can't remember which one we're on. I think we're on Trevor State star number 8. But either way, Aiden Brown, Bozeman Gallatin, he had 24 points for the Raptors as they moved to 3-1 in conference play with a 50-43 win over Billings Senior. Micah Fallsdown, what a great name. He had 30 points for Hardin in a 94-53 win over Livingston. That's the first win of the year for the Bulldogs, surprisingly. They've had a great basketball program, so good for them to get on the board. How about Spencer Laird? She was the high scorer of the weekend on Saturday. We had those 2 40-point games on Friday, but Spencer Laird, the high scorer for Saturday. She had 36 points as Missoula Loyola beats up on Anaconda 74-26. So she outscores Anaconda by 10. Emmy Laird, her younger sister, who's only a freshman, she had 20 more points. So 56 for the Laird sisters to 26 for Anaconda. And oh, by the way, 18 more points came in on the Loyola side. So that's how you win a game by 50, is by doing that. They're on the one of the websites I check for this stuff. They have the high scores of the weekend, and usually then I just search that name to go find the actual stat line and the scores and the box score and all that stuff. I don't know who Madison O'Connor scored 35 for from Baker. There was not a write-up or a box score on this. There was just the note that she had scored 35, but she continues her outstanding senior year, and that was another one of the high marks of the weekend, so I figured we'd highlight her. And then finally, Dron Lear of Fairfield, he scored 30 for the Eagles as they moved to 6-0 in league play and 8-1 overall. They're number 2 in Class B after their 79-52 win over number 6 Fort Benton. So that was 2 of the best teams in the state, and Fairfield had no problem with them thanks to Lear's 30 points, and they win going away by 27, 79-52, Fairfield over Fort Benton. Thursday Stars probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. Parkside Credit Union, a great place in western Montana to get a loan because Parkside Credit Union loves to say yes. Some final thoughts on the national championship game. On the other side, don't change that down. Keep it right here, 102.9 ESPN Radio. You know all that gunk that gets stuck on the bottom of your car? It's nice that the city of Missoula de-ices the roads for us, but that stuff can really hurt your paint job and erode the undercarriage of your rig. That's why it's important to keep your car clean all winter long at Dazzler's Car Wash. Get yourself an unlimited membership at Dazzler's Car Wash. For just $37 a month, you can get your car washed every single day. Treat your car like it deserves to be treated at Dazzler's Car Wash of Missoula, located at 2610 Radio Way in the Garden City.
The wait is over. Grizzly Disposal is now offering no-sort recycling. No more sorting and dragging it across town. They'll get it right from your house. Cans, cardboard, and plastic all in one bin. Handled by Grizzly Disposal. Visit grizzlydisposal.com to add on recycling to your plan or to switch over to Grizzly Disposal today. Give them a call, 541-7171. That's 541-7171. The best trash removal service in town just got better. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage.
Buying a car shouldn't be an adventure, and at Missoula Chevrolet, it's not. Their team isn't paid on commission, so there's no pressure. Just honest help finding the right vehicle for you. You'll get real cash value for your trade, and the price you see, that's the price you pay. No back and forth, no guessing, no trail of fine print, just one low price, plain and simple always. So if you're ready for a smoother ride, on or off the road, head to Missoula Chevrolet and shop hundreds of vehicles in stock. Together, let's drive.
Make your plans for Friday night. Grizz hockey is back at the Glacier Ice Rink. The Montana Grizzlies take on Providence in a Treasure State rivalry showdown. Face-off is 7:30, and it's also Chuck-a-Puck night. Fans can throw their pucks on the ice for a chance to win prizes from Grizz hockey and their sponsors. Fast action, big hits, and non-stop excitement. Tickets are available now at grizzhockey.com. Don't miss Grizz hockey this Friday at the Glacier Ice Rink.
You already know Tagliari Delicatessen has the best sandwiches in all of Montana. Heck, even People Magazine and the Food Network say so. But Tagliari Deli has more than just the most delicious sandwiches this side of the Mississippi. Stop into the shop on the corner of Beckwith and Higgins to check out all they have to offer. Tagliari takes pride in offering the best selection of imported Old World wines that are sure to please a variety of palates. Pair the wine with a sandwich, a cheese and meat plate, or both. Stop in to Tagliari Deli today.
Dive. The legacy of former submariners is with the crew of SSN 794.
Ron Larson, Electrician's Mate Chief. USS Stang, 1977 to 1980. I've had the pleasure of meeting the captain and crew members of the USS Montana. Very qualified.
The technology is different. The respect is the same. For more, browse the news page blogs at ussmontanacommittee.us.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
It's through your skin. But if it's the drug, the women, the white, the weed, the love that took everything I owe, just take it all.
I knew I really liked them until I saw them last summer. Now I love them. Mount Joy is awesome. They were here with the Zootown Music Festival last year. Great live act. And they're coming back. They're coming back to Missoula this summer at the Kettle House Amphitheater, August 26th. See you there if you're interested. I'm definitely going. That's the one that's the leader in the clubhouse. That's the one that I know that I'm going to be hitting up this summer, but I'm sure there's plenty more on the way. So it's now 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. We led today with Indiana winning the national championship. And if you missed anything in the show, you can find that conversation as well as Big Sky scoreboard from what went down with the Montana teams yesterday. All four of them won for Division I basketball. We also had a review of the undefeated teams in high school hoops. We also heard from Nate Harris, the head coach of the Lady Grizz. This is his post-game following the loss to the Bobcats, and the Lady Grizz certainly bounced back. So a lot of stuff he talked about in that interview, they righted on Monday afternoon. We also talked about with Chris Redpath around the Big Sky women's hoops with a high priority on the Montana schools, and we also gave you our Treasure State Stars with a heavy high school basketball flavor. So a lot of hoops in today's show, because we're running out of football games. As of last night now, we have just the championship games on Sunday, and we have the Super Bowl. And that's it. No more football games otherwise. But I do sort of love what's happening in football right now, because despite what the national narratives are about all the unrest and dysfunctionality that the transfer portal, NIL and all this stuff, right? It's never been this crazy in college football or just in college sports in general. It's never been this influenced by at least open money, right? There's always been money influence. That's like the joke that's been going around for years, right? Like Indiana was the only Power 5 team that weren't paying people. Everybody else was. They're just paying them under the table. Now that it's out in the open and they can pay people out in the open, Indiana figured out how to pay people, and that's why they're good. I get the entry part of the joke. One of the things that, I've gone back and forth with this in my head, this is probably something that is much more of an in-depth conversation to have, but as somebody that is a person with a journalism degree from a premier journalism school at the University of Montana, when you go into sports, you want to do your best to provide checks and balances and not just be a PR mouthpiece for wherever you cover, but to report on all the accomplishments, but also to report on all the shortcomings too, or any sort of financial stuff, or stuff that's interesting to the public, holding people in power accountable, right? And the thesis that I've come up with in 19 years of doing this as either a sports writer, a reporter, a radio analyst, a podcaster, all these different hats that I've worn in my media career, is that leadership and vision are the most important things to form success when it comes to higher education at large, and then that relationship with college athletics. Talent can get you to the base of Everest, right? Talent and finances and resources and all that. That can get you to the doorstep. But at the end of the day, it's people, it's leadership, it's culture that gets you over the top. North Dakota State has spent more money than most programs. They've invested very, very well in their football program. But there was a moment in time when James Madison was in the FCS, and James Madison won one championship when North Dakota State won 10. James Madison has way more money than North Dakota State. James Madison moved up to the FBS and became competitive immediately because they have so many students. They charge a hefty athletic department activities fee. They make $50 million in revenue just off of student athletic fees. So James Madison was ready to make the jump immediately. North Dakota State won all the championships still, though. Why? Culture, leadership, continuity within the organization. You see it now with Indiana winning the championship as well. It's not just the biggest payroll. It still comes down to, do you have experience? Do you have fortitude? Do you have toughness? Do you have leadership? It's very affirming to me because that has been sort of the standard thesis that I have determined over all these years, and it remains true even with all the unrest and all the money in the wide world of college football. We'll be back at it tomorrow. The boys in the back, they got a hockey segment for you. We will also have our latest ESPN Roundtable and whatever else we can get to. We'll see you then, 4 p.m., Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio.